editing for the web, congratulations, you've made it here. What you heard is true. This is the best class and I am the best instructor. Again, this is your orientation session. We're going to go over a few of like the housekeeping kind of things. It's what you can expect this month. So this is me. I'm Emily Ray. I teach a number of things here in the MCBS program. You will have me definitely for this class and Portfolio 3, but if you're on campus, you've likely had me for a number of other classes as well. I've been at Full Sail now for about 6 years. I've probably taught 20 different classes here, both online and on campus. So I'm very passionate about this material. I do a lot of freelance consulting and work in this area. And so this is something, if you've worked with me in the portfolio capacity, I'm there just to kind of support you guys and what it is you want to do and not really quote unquote teach you anything. But this is an area that, I have a lot of experience and I'm highly motivated to share what I know to help you guys build better content and better websites. All right, quick poll. Who wants to be a web developer? We got a maybe, we got a sure.
That's not in my definite goal.
Yeah, so we've got a not today. I just throw this generally out there because if somebody's hand shot up and they're like, yes, that is me, that is my passion and my life's goal is to be a web developer, you're in the wrong program. Right? MCBS is not a web design program or a development program. Full Sail has some great courses and programs for that. It's just not the one you're currently in. What you guys get here is 4 short weeks with me to learn about how to create content for an interactive medium, right? Like that is the focus of this class. And then in, downstream a little bit, you'll have another web class with Libby. And so you'll learn a little bit more about this discipline then. But so for any of you who are even, kind of nervous at all that this class has anything to do with coding, it doesn't. This is not a coding class. I'm not here to teach you a new language in 4 short weeks. I'm here to give you some tools and to share some concepts and techniques with you that I'm hoping that, if you want to be a social media strategist or a journalist or a graphic designer or a videographer, that what we talk about can be helpful for you in those pursuits. That is my ultimate goal, is to share things that are applicable no matter where you want to end up in the media industry. All right, this is kind of the boring part where I am literally going to read the course objectives to you. This is like teacher talk for what students will be able to do or what they will do, going through the curriculum of this class. There is an organizational guru by the name of Stephen Covey who wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's awesome. If you haven't read it or aren't familiar with Stephen Covey and his work, check it out. It's a great book with some strategies about just kind of how to prioritize big ideas and relationships in your life. So one of the things that he shares is to begin with the end in mind. And that is the idea that anytime you are on a journey, or starting out at the front end of a project, or let's just dare say a course, that you have an idea of what the end goal is, because when you can kind of see that as a North Star, you can make better choices along the way to help get you to where you want to go. So even though it's a little boring, sharing these objectives kind of lets you know, when you're working on assignments, like, why am I working on this assignment? Oh, okay, I remember, because the objective here was to be able to identify all 4 phases of the web development process and the main tasks associated with each, right? Or analyze a target audience to determine demographic data, user personas, and develop an ideal site visitor profile. You guys will evaluate features of popular content management systems, CMSs, such as Wix, Weebly, WordPress, Squarespace, whichever one your heart desires, right? For their usefulness and their relevancy to a given website development scenario. You guys will be creating a site for a fictitious business and you get to choose what you're going to build that on. Some of you might have more of a desire for, flexing your muscles in the area of visual design. Wix, as a program offers a lot of features and a lot of granular control over design-related things from page to page. So people who want to put more of a stamp of their creative touch on things tend to choose Wix. Somebody who wants to start off with a strong minimalist template from the start might choose Weebly. There's not as many things that you can tweak. For that kind of system, you might let your content be what shines, right? Instead of the platform itself, the content that you've created and put out there might take more of a center stage on a blank canvas of a template, right? And your choice might change for whatever scenario you're working on, right? Like you might decide for my fictitious business project that I'm going to use Wix, and then after having used Wix, you decide that that's not what you want to use to build your portfolio site later. All of that is okay. The idea is that you're getting exposure to different things and that you're making a choice that's based on your experience, right? So the other things that you're going to do this month are you're going to develop strategic web copy and audiovisual assets that adhere to best practices for creating content for an online interactive medium. That's like such gobbledygook, and that's the things that we have to write to describe the course. That just means that you're going to create smart content that's for the web. And content that's for the web is different than content for print. And that's different for content for a video, right? So it's understanding the medium and making smart choices based on that. You guys are going to create a simple, functional website using a CMS that meets both the end user and business needs of a given website development scenario. So you're going to create a website for a fake client that meets their needs, but also the needs of the target audience they're trying to serve with their business. And you're also going to begin to build the basic structure of your personal portfolio sites that you will revisit and refine next month in Portfolio 3 with me, right? So this is the start of that. Many of you already have those types of things in the works, so that's great. You're ahead of the game, and this will be an opportunity. Let's say if you already have the start of a portfolio, you're going to be learning things this month that you will likely want to apply to that portfolio. So when it comes to that part of the month, then what you're doing is not starting from scratch. You're taking what you've already spent some time and energy building and going over it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that you are applying the concepts and techniques that you're learning in the class. All right. So in the orientation for us here, it wouldn't be complete without a quick combo about expectations for the course. These are the same whether you're online or on campus, but with a slightly different take, obviously. Show up. If you're on campus, that means to literally be in the classroom with me. We have a few scheduled times, which you guys are well aware of. If you're going to be late, let me know. If you're not going to be here, let me know. I record these lectures and they can be available to you so that you don't miss out on the things that we talk about. If you're online, show up means to participate in our classroom community there, right? I know that they kind of blend, right? But showing up means to log in, to read your assignments, to ask questions where you need clarification on things. For participation, if you're in class with me and we're having a discussion, obviously your input and insight is valuable and wanted in the discussion. If you're online and we're doing a forum on there or someplace to like a Q&A where you can ask questions or seek greater understanding, please do. I want this to be as interactive as possible. And then last but not least, ask questions, not just of things that are unclear or that that you need to know more information about, but also ask questions about if you cannot make the connection, how what it is that we're learning is relevant to whatever it is that you want to do. If you have no idea how you could potentially use any of the things that we're talking about, ask a question about that, right? I want to help try and connect those dots for you. You have a course textbook. It's called Web Design for Dummies. Certain chapters have been outlined for you. You'll find that in FSO under our reading. It's available on Creative Edge, and this is the only time I'm ever going to mention it. There's not going to be any quizzes or homework that's based solely on what you see here. It is solely designed to supplement the things that we talk about and other resources that are provided in the class. I say all of that because, this is college. This is college. I'm putting together an experience for you in the class. And part of that experience is it involves being a participant in your own learning, right? By seeking out additional information or even just combing through what's been provided to you to help enhance your knowledge in an area. So, I will certainly, if you read the chapters that are in this book, your work is going to be better. And I'm going to be able to notice in whatever it is that you guys submit, whether or not you have an understanding of some of the core concepts and things that are discussed here. Course activities, right? So you guys are kind of ending your quote unquote sophomore year, if we had that at Full Sail. Portfolio 3 marks the halfway point. And so some of these kind of activity genres, I'm hoping that you've heard before, that your instructors have taken the time to share with you some of the rationale behind what they're doing with the organization of their course. But if they haven't, I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing that today. One of the things that we try to do in MCBS is to give you a cohesive experience so that courses are threaded in a way that you can see certain aspects carried over from another course to another course, and how you can cumulatively apply what you're learning into what you're being asked to do in subsequent courses. Part of course design has to do with getting you guys onboarded really quickly with a course after just finishing another one, right? So there's this level of, maybe there's anxiety about, I just finished this one and I'm starting another one. And how is this instructor going to be? And are they going to grade hard? And what kinds of activities? And how do they organize their stuff? And where can I find this? And how does this professor want to be addressed or messaged or communicated with? We tried to give you guys a consistent format. I mean, everybody does things a little bit differently, but I'm sharing with you kind of the behind the scenes or the back end sort of thing, just so you can have an awareness of why we do the things we do, right? So in this class, you have a series of different kinds of activities throughout the week. The first one is your exploration activity. In this class, I call that an absolute A activity. So this is the first assignment that you're going to see in the week. It is exploratory in that it introduces a concept or technique in hopefully like a risk-free or fun kind of way. It's not something that is going to is going to require a super amount from you at the beginning of the week. It's mostly just like, hey, this might be something new. Let's check it out. Let's become familiar with some ideas and then maybe create a little something based on what we learned. Absolute A means that if you demonstrate proper effort and critical thinking in your submission and you turn it in on time and it meets all the requirements as stated in the activity description, then you're going to get 100%. Like, that's just how it is. Like, that's the pass, right? If you do not demonstrate proper effort and do not meet the requirements as stated in the assignment description, but still submit something, you're going to get a 50. Partial credit for partial work. But, like, if we do the math, a 50 is still failing. That's the fail side of things. If you submit nothing, then that's just going to be a 0. No big whoop, right? Later on in the week, you have something called your analysis activities, right? So an analysis activity is where you look at a real-world version of a concept or a technique that you were introduced to earlier in the week, right? So it's kind of a higher level thinking about something that was simple to start with, right? In a lot of your MCBS classes, these analysis activities take the form of writing assignments, right? Where you're comparing different things. You will not be doing that in this class. What I ask you guys to do instead are video reviews. I do ask that you work from notes or a script. I do give you a time limit on what I'm asking you to look at and compare. I give you prompts, but the idea is that you are doing a commentary on something and providing like screen capture footage that is showing me on screen the things that you are talking about or illuminating in your review. We'll go over the specifics of assignments as they come up, but just know that the analysis activities in this class are not like writing assignments. They will be video submissions. And then lastly, the projects. The end of the week is the show me what you know. So you got introduced to something early in the week. Then you saw how that thing was being done in the real world by different people in different ways. And then you get an opportunity to show me how you would do whatever that thing is. And how you're going to do it is not just based at this point on, your own whims or opinions about how they should be done. It should be based on what you saw other people doing. It should be based on what you learned with the concept or the technique in the beginning. It should also be based on your reading or supplemental research that you guys are doing out of your own curiosities. In the end, your projects are informed by a lot of different things, right? But this is your opportunity to say, this is how I would do it. All right. If you're on campus, we might have integrated learning activities. So these are supplemental things that we might be able to do or take advantage of over the course of the month, depending on what comes up. Maybe there's a cool guest speaker that comes. Maybe there's a client who wants a website. So as a class, we decide that we're going to build something together just as practice. There may be something that comes up. And if it does, I'll be communicating that on our class messaging thread there in FSO. Late policy. The late policy for this class is consistent with, the MCBS policy, which is you can get up to 1/2 credit. That means up to 50% for 48 hours past the missed deadline. So, you don't even need to give me an excuse. You don't even need to send me a message in FSO that says, hey, sorry, insert excuse here. Can I still submit it? The answer is absolutely yes. Don't even just say, can I still submit it? It shows much more initiative just to go ahead and turn it in, right? That shows me, okay, you really do want to get this in for partial credit. Absolutely. If you want to explain something to me, that's fine. If there are extenuating circumstances, that's fine. But just know you can always submit something for partial credit up to 48 hours past the missed deadline. But do you know what I love more than giving you 50% for late work?
Full credit?
Yeah, I love giving you full credit, but what else?
Bonus work.
Bonus work? No bonus work.
Free money.
Free money? I wish somebody would give me free money. What I love more than giving you 50% for late work is giving you an extension when you proactively reach out for one. And proactively means not 30 minutes before midnight. Proactively is at least 6 hours. If you know that you're going to miss a deadline, reach out. In the 6 years that I've worked here, I've never denied a student an extension who has reached out to me proactively. Because you know why? Life happens to all of us. If you were in a professional environment and your boss gave you a job or a task and you knew that you weren't going to make that deadline, you wouldn't let that deadline come and go without saying anything to your boss. And as a teacher here at Full Sail, aside from sharing insight, concepts, and techniques on a particular topic, part of what we do is foster professional behaviors in you that will serve you when you leave here and get out into the industry and try and get a job. So to me, I would much rather give you an extension and have you put your full effort and resources into an assignment than half-ass something that you don't even really care about just because you're trying to meet an 11:59 deadline, right? Deadlines are arbitrary. By arbitrary, that means I make them up. But I make them up because we have a lot of material that we need to cover. And this curriculum, it builds on itself, right? So you're going to do something in the beginning of the week, then you'll need that information to do what happens in the middle of the week, and you'll need all of that information to do your project on Sunday. And so while there is some wiggle room, we have some definite milestones and benchmarks that we need to make in order to get through everything there is this month. So the moral of this story is be proactive in your communication with me. If you need something, let me know. I'm here to support you. I am your fan and I am your mentor through this process. I'm not, just a strict disciplinary grader on the other side of the computer screen. Lectures, you're listening to one now, and you can listen to this one again later if you like it so much. I record all of the lectures and I provide video archives for them to both campus and online. And so that's great. If you miss a lecture time in class, you can catch up and know what we discussed. And if you do miss a class, you're responsible for the material and listening to it like within 48 hours. And that's because this stuff is time sensitive. Like if I'm talking about an assignment that's due on Wednesday, if you don't listen to this until Thursday night, you might have missed the tips or the tricks or the extra information or insight that I'm sharing about that assignment. For those of you on campus, phones, can you have them in the class? Of course, but like when I'm doing these recorded lectures, if you could just make sure that they're like on silent is my only request, because I could get distracted really easily, and then we could just, this train would go off track really fast. And I would be being recorded when that happened, and that's not, well, it's entertaining for you, but embarrassing for me. It's 3 to 5 o'clock. You might get hungry. You might need a snack. I do sometimes. You can absolutely have food in the classroom, but again, fostering professional or adult behaviors, just clean up after you go is all that really matters. I know that I could use a coffee and a cookie about this time of day, but yeah, you absolutely can, if you guys need to use the restroom or do anything, like we're all adults here, just excuse yourself and use the restroom, no permission needed. Does anybody have any questions about any of that information? All pretty straightforward. Basic stuff, kind of just welcome to the class, this is what you can expect from me, and also letting me know what I can expect from you guys. All right.